my house for a while now. Better keep this banana by the door.
Sounds ridiculous, right? Now imagine this banana was capable of incapacitating an attacker from over 60 feet.
At Byrna, we don't sell bananas. Go to Byrna.com to learn more.
And welcome back to Last Call, everybody. I am Mike Crispi, and we got a big show for you tonight. On this Saturday, Real America's Voice, do or die time for the GOP. We got the Supreme Court rejecting the tariffs. We got the SAVE Act on the table. Will the House and the Senate act to support Trump? What is going on there? And Zoran, with more snow expected in New York City, will he kill more homeless people? More about that in a minute. And Lex Wexner, okay, this guy is testifying, and we're hearing him speak for the first time, and either billionaires are mentally retarded or he's a really good liar. We'll get into that. We got a big show for you tonight. I'm ready. Frankie's ready. You better be too, and let's go.
Mike Crispi, where's Mike? Man, did he make a good speech. Thank you, Mike. You have big plans for the future, and we're with you.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Thanks for joining us and joining me, as always, the one and only, the most based producer in the game. Last week, he was dressed a little bit like a telemarketer. I think he had a wedding or a funeral to attend after the show. Today, he's back in his normal attire and vibe, looking good. The favorite, okay? And when I say the favorite, it's me and him. So he's the favorite of the ladies who watch this program. Producer Frankie, how we doing?
Good to be back, Mike. Yes, nice late night, formal, casual attire. We're back.
Yes.
We're back. Don't you worry.
You're looking like an ICE agent, so that's a compliment. You're looking good. You're looking like an ICE agent. So listen, if the situation continues to spiral out of control, we will detonate producer Frankie, okay? We will put him in the streets, illegal aliens. You hear me now when I say that. We will arm Frankie.
Oh, no.
And at that point, the cartel will go into business. Okay, yes, we want to keep Frankie safe. He doesn't live on Long Island, New York. Okay, don't stay away. Anyway, so want to get into the show, and it is do or die time for the GOP. It is now or never for the GOP. I say this because we have three branches of government. It is February. The midterms are in November. Do you understand the weight of the moment we are in? And do you understand what these people are trying to do from now until that time? This was the strategy from the day that Trump got in office. It's called the run out the clock model. Lawsuit here, court filing there, illegal aliens here, whack-a-mole game of illegal criminals there. That is what they are trying to do to form a permanent Democrat voting bloc of criminal illegal aliens, to form a permanent debtor nation of the United States of America, owing foreign countries billions of dollars, and to create relevancy for themselves when in any other world, the Democrat Party would have zero relevancy in a normal country that isn't cheating and stealing and defrauding the voters in their elections. That's where we're at right now. President Trump has laid out plans and laid out an outline of solutions to fix it. And the question is, will Republicans do anything about it? Maybe it's this mentally incapacitated state representative on Tennessee that they put on CNN. He's got a big afro. And it's funny because, like, you know, where's all the protesting? Where's this guy protesting? You know, Jeffrey Epstein's emails. He's calling all black people the N-word every other word, right? You know, as he's talking to other powerful Democrats. Why isn't this guy talking about that? No, instead he's talking about every illegal alien counting as part of the Democrat platform. The same illegal aliens, by the way, which are taking over black neighborhoods. Listen to this.
We have to abolish ICE. We have to abolish the Customs and Border Patrol in the way they currently exist and replace them with something that actually does the work that we need for them to, and that is effective at holding these people in this administration accountable. I'll tell you what the work is not. The work is not killing American citizens.
You said the work we
in
need
our
them to do. I'm interested in your opinion. What is the work that we need them to do?
Absolutely. One, the work is not killing American citizens.
No, what is the work we need them to do?
Well, first, let's look at what they don't need to do. They don't need to go into communities like Memphis,
do they need to deport illegal aliens?
Where they're currently terrorizing and traumatizing our communities.
Okay, so you see there, you're never going to get an answer from these people of what they should do. Everyone says you should replace it with something else. What should we do? Should we replace it with social workers? How's that going to work exactly? Right now, the Democrats, in repudiation of ICE, you know what they're doing? They are shutting down the TSA, the Coast Guard, and FEMA. That's what they're doing right now. That is the solution to ICE. That is toddler logic. That is throwing a temper tantrum logic. So think about it. The DHS, which I guess falls under the umbrella, ICE and Border Patrol fall under the umbrella of DHS. Now, the funding bill was up for the entirety of DHS, and for some reason they're deciding that it's a good idea to defund TSA, Coast Guard, and FEMA because they fall under the same umbrella, the DHS, as ICE and Border Patrol, and that is an effective message for the people. And that guy, okay, that token guy, okay, that you got right there, he's the real Uncle Tom, by the way, you know, token black, speaking on behalf of white liberals trying to flood and destroy the country, that this is a good thing. Now, even Democrats like Senator Fetterman are saying that this is absurd. Roland.
Hi, as a committed Democrat, I want the same changes that every other Democrat wants to make on ICE. But ICE already has $75 billion in funding from the big, beautiful bill that I did not vote for. So what it will impact is that we'll shut down important parts of DHS, whether that's FEMA, whether that's the Coast Guard, whether that is also about the CISA, the cyber security agency in our nation. All of these are shut down. We want to find a way forward to produce those changes, but shutting the government down is the wrong way.
So even a halfway incapacitated vegetable like John Fetterman can logic more properly than a Democrat on CNN. Is that adding up for you guys? Now, you're probably wondering why guys like that say that. Again, where's the protest? Where's the outrage over Jeffrey Epstein calling people the N-word in every other email, okay, in his thing? Where's the outrage about that? There is none, okay? These people, where's the outrage about New York City being overtaken by illegal aliens in all the black neighborhoods? Every black neighborhood in America, where are they dumping the illegals? They're dumping them in the black neighborhoods. Where are the new street gangs popping up? In the black neighborhoods. You had the Trendy Araga street gangs against the indigenous street gangs of New York City and every other city in the country. How's that working out? No protests over that. This is over them, the Democrats, attempting to run out the clock on everything Trump has promised to do, wants to do, is trying to do. They're trying to run out the clock for this purpose. It's all about the census. It's all about representation. It's all about gerrymandering. It's all about creating fake congressional districts. And it's all about having non-citizens count and then having no voter ID. So these people, okay, that they call citizens, non-citizens, so they can vote in the elections. Do you see what's going on? It's taking place before our very eyes. Watch this.
The American people and the census manipulation that Democrats have been using to influence American elections for years. In 2018, Republican leadership, including the president himself, called for a citizenship question to be included in the 2020 census reports. To no one's surprise, when the Democrats took control, these requests went unanswered, and the question of citizenship was waived. But the fact remains that the concept of sanctuary cities and radical blue states ignoring immigration law and using the illegal population to manipulate the lines of congressional districts is in fact unconstitutional. Not only are there severe constitutional concerns from the inclusion of illegal immigrants, but the Census Bureau admitted to having made several, quote, errors in their 2020 census report. Convenient, seeing that as in 2020, Donald Trump was on top of the ticket.
So how can you calculate, okay, if we have illegal aliens in the country to the tune of millions, how are they calculating the census and who counts and who doesn't count? If you're counting illegal aliens in the census and they respond to the census and you get the data about the census, why wouldn't we deport the illegal aliens? Why would we count the illegal aliens in the census? I've never filled out a census thing. Who's sending out census information to the illegal aliens? It makes no sense whatsoever. But you see, that's what this is about. This is about illegal aliens. This is about people saying ICE needs to stop killing people, okay, which obviously is only happening because Antifa mentally ill people are being activated in the streets, and that's leading to death. Then you have them talking about the census. Then you have them shutting down things in their temper tantrum to just cause more broad-scale chaos. And they want to throw the country into chaos, both domestically and internationally. Now, I saw what happened on an international front about President Trump's tariffs. Okay, President Trump, we all remember Liberation Day, where he put these tariffs in place. America's $30 trillion in debt. That's climbing. That's not sustainable. We're a debtor nation. We're poor, but we are the richest country in the world, they say. We have the most natural resources. We have the most industry. We have the most business. But somehow we are worth negative $30 trillion. Does that make any sense? And the only thing that backs our dollar right now, which is inflationary runaway, is the power of our military. It's literally the only thing. So when we talk about the dollar and the markets and the currency, it's all bullshit. The only thing that actually backs, okay, the American dollar and the American system is the fact that we have nuclear weapons and we can drop bombs and we get the bombers and all that stuff. That's what it is about. So President Trump's trying to right the ship. He's trying to stabilize things. He's trying to get the tariff stuff going. And we brought in $175 billion. That's something that every American citizen should be happy about. But it's amazing to me how many American citizens are so mentally ill that they would rather America lose economically and their dollar become worth less and have to give the money back to the foreign countries than see Trump get a win on economic policy that's to the benefit of everybody. How does that make any sense? And it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. Remember earlier I talked about lawfare and the Supreme Court and the rulings of the courts. Something happened with the Supreme Court ruling where they said that President Trump could not levy the tariffs that he wanted to levy and how he was levying them. Here was President Trump talking about something very peculiar going on with some members of the Supreme Court ruling.
What did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence. They have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships, I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh.
So Trump saying that some Supreme Court members might be under the influence of radical leftists or globalists. Think for a minute, is that really that out of the question? I mean, you think about all of the blackmail and all of the compromising that goes on of these politicians, the death threats, the suiciding. You don't think that the Supreme Court members are under similar pressure like that? And it's funny, it's because they're probably easier to get to. You get to a Supreme Court member and boom, you got them. And then they're going to make these rulings, and the tariff ruling impacts the global markets, and you don't want the global markets to be trending too much towards America, because then other people of influence in America lose out. So I do believe that the system right now is fundamentally breaking at the seams. And all they're doing is, because again, President Trump has ways to exercise tariffs in other ways, which we'll show you in a second. But all it's doing is the same thing that they're doing with the illegal aliens. They want to stall, delay, stonewall, new method, run out the clock, midterms. Democrats get something and it's over. And then they just impeach Trump for the next 2 years and all the cabinet members, because that's what's coming if they win. So President Trump just saying, all right, we're going to put the tariffs back into place under a different way. Here is him talking about that. Roll it.
Under the various tariffs authorities, so we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs. They're existing, they're there. Remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
All right, so again, every other country can do it unfairly. Every other country can manipulate their currency and rip us off. Every other country can dump cheap nonsense with chemicals in the country. But in America, if you want to do anything to protect your citizens and to make money in return to create an even playing field, well, then the courts will rule against you. It's always fascinating. Like, I always see these things like the international courts of this and, the body of that. It's like nobody ever is ruling in favor of America. It's always a scam against America. Now, President Trump this morning raised that from 10% to 15%. And now people are saying, all right, you got $175 billion in tariff revenue. The Supreme Court saying that money needs to be returned. That's what they're saying. And the question is how are we going to return $175 billion to hostile foreign countries? And why wouldn't we just take the $175 billion and give it out to the citizens of America? How about that for a concept? Like, why do they hate us so much that they can't say, all right, you know what, we got $175 billion and we already made the money. Why don't we just give it to the American people? Why don't we do it in the form of a tax break or something? Can we give everybody out some cash? Can we help people? It's funny, during the COVID times, all these dumb sheep were like, lock down and don't go to work and all that. But you still have to pay your federal income tax. Nobody cared. So why can't we get that $175 billion back for the American people? Is there anything they're going to be able to say that the American people get out of this? Here's Trump saying that we're going to hold on to that money. We're not giving it back, despite the fact that the Democrats are now cheering to give back the money to other countries. Sounds kind of un-American, really.
It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. I said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years.
You hear the reporter, are you gonna honor refunds? Like this is like you're buying a loaf of bread at the supermarket. Are you gonna honor the refund? It's like, how stupid are these people? When you actually peel back the layers here and the onion, it's like, how stupid are these people and how much do they actively root against America? $175 billion payments to countries that hate us on goods that have they've already increased the prices. Remember, they increased the prices of the goods. That's never coming back down. Trump said we're going to make so much money in tariffs that's going to then allow us to have a surplus and then lower or abolish many taxes that we have in the country. That's what he said. But the reporters are like, are you going to refund it? They are like bloodthirsty for America to fail when Trump's just trying to make it work. What's going on? All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with so much more. Don't go anywhere.
With riots and violent looting going on all over the country, I don't feel safe leaving the house without this banana. Normally, I would be worried about this creepy guy, but I've got my banana with me. That same car has been sitting outside my house for a while now. Better keep this banana by the door.
Sounds ridiculous, right? Now imagine this banana was capable of incapacitating an attacker from over 60 feet.
At Berna, we don't sell bananas. Go to Berna.com to learn more.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruit, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
President Trump ended the nightmare for almost all January 6 defendants when he delivered on his promise to pardon those who suffered through our two-tiered system of justice. But there are still 12 January 6 defendants whose fights are far from over. These J6ers still face overwhelming legal battles. Scan the QR code now or visit j6support.com to help stand in the gap push for pardons for these patriots. Many have lost their jobs, homes, and life savings due to prolonged incarceration, and even though they've had their sentences commuted, they still cannot vote, possess firearms, receive any military pensions and retirement benefits, obtain health care coverage for themselves and their families, or secure employment. Stand in the Gap is renewing our Justice Restoration Fund to advocate for full pardons for these patriots. Please visit j6support.com or scan the QR code to support our fight for justice for these January 6 defendants. Your gift today helps us partner with reputable attorneys and legal advisors to ensure they have a fair chance at winning their cases and having their rights restored. Please donate today to let these J6ers know that they are not forgotten. Scan the QR code or visit j6support.com to make a tax-deductible donation to our Justice Restoration Fund.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here, now coming to you live from New York. And I want to talk about New York for a minute, the nation's largest city. We are seeing, really, I think in an unbelievable fashion, the downfall of our city in a way in which I didn't think would be possible just 5 years, 10 years, 15 years ago. The biggest city in the country turning into the remnants of a third world Muslim Middle Eastern country. That's what it kind of looks like when you go outside and you stroll down Times Square. It used to be tourists, taking pictures with hot dogs and buying T-shirts that say "I Heart New York." But instead you have the mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani, giving a permit for thousands of Muslims to take over Times Square and celebrate Ramadan, I believe it is. And they're doing this in a almost antagonistic way. Because again, people have been celebrating, I guess, Ramadan in New York City or whatever holiday it is. They've been celebrating it probably for a really long time in New York. But for the first time ever, the mayor of New York has said, all right, please take this permit, go to the middle of Times Square, disrupt millions of dollars of commerce that occurs in Times Square, for you to take up the whole area and do your call to prayer for the world to see. It's almost like a symbol, okay? It's almost like a symbol. And do you think the local businesses around where all these people are that are losing money every single minute that they're there, taking up all this space, what do you think they think about this? You think they were consulted before Zohran gave the permit for this? This is very strange to me why this is happening. Of course, there are Muslims in New York City, but why this? Why now? Roll this. So, all right, so you see there's the protest going on there, but you can see Times Square completely, fenced off. You have thousands of people taking it up. They're bowing, they're doing their prayer, and it kind of is a FU, if you will, to the locals of New York City. It's like, this isn't a American city anymore. This is an international city. Zohran's always talking about Islam or Buddhism or whatever. If you look at the people who helped enable Zohran, like all these Jewish donors gave all this money to Zohran. So it's like the Middle Eastern holy war is now like playing out on New York soil. And as a American, as a New Yorker, as somebody whose family's been here for 100 years, I'm like, why do we now have these antagonistic offenses going on? And how does it make any sense? I'm trying to unravel this. Frankie, maybe you could help me. You have Zohran who's running, socialist, communist, all this, and then you have all of these wealthy Jews in New York who vote for Zohran, who give him millions of dollars, and then the first thing he does when he comes in is unleash the Islamic call to prayer in Midtown Manhattan, almost designed to trigger everybody getting sucked into a battle in the city when this could have all just been avoided by not electing Zohran. And I want to take it one step further, Frankie, before I bring you in on this. People, again, are protesting, 3 people. The fact that Zohran's mom, again, who's Zohran's mom? Who is Zohran's mom connected to? Oh, Jeffrey Epstein. She's in the files. You think Zohran is an organic person? So Jeffrey Epstein, who's connected to multiple foreign intelligence agencies, okay, including the UK, including Israel, including America, this guy's mother was in the Epstein orbit, in the Epstein circle, attending dinners and events with him. Is any of this organic? And by the way, there's no outrage about it. I watched this protest. We're going to roll this here. But I said, why aren't there thousands of people showing up at the Gracie Mansion to protest how they've been defrauded by Zoran? Just roll this for a minute, and then we'll talk about it.
That's right. We know about your mom. Now listen, we was with you, Zoran. We voted for you, Zoran. We advocated for you, Zoran. We advocated for you.
Yeah. So you know what's interesting is that the reason why there's no people there at the protest, even though this is about, like, you know, again, all these like passionate socialists, they just had all their, you know, hopes and dreams. Like, you know, some of them who are actually, you know, halfway awake, they realize it's been stolen away. Zoran's not who they thought they were. He's a tool of the globalist left. And they got shafted. So you would think that they would be like in uproar, they would be protesting. I mean, literally, you know, Zoran's now connected to the raping of little children because his mother was palling around with Epstein. You would think there would be riots about this, about Epstein, about all this stuff, but there's nothing. What about all these people calling black people the N-word? Nothing. What about them all calling us the Goyim? Okay, nothing. You would think that there would be an uprising, but there's not. And the reason there is zero uprising, zero protest, I was thinking about this, Frankie, it's because every protest, every big protest over the last, call it 5-10 years, is fake. They're all fake. It's all fake. Like BLM protests, the Antifa protest against ICE. If the globalist left isn't paying for it, organizing it, and funding it, nobody shows up. So when you have the most heinous thing happening imaginable, which is a pedophile ring being unearthed, and the socialist grand hope for New York City, this mayor, okay, of inclusion, okay, his mother coordinating with Jewish billionaire Jeffrey Epstein, and you have all these people who voted for Zoran who, like, you know, they want him in there because he's got the Islam thing going on. He's doing the call to prayer. Why aren't they protesting? Why aren't they upset? Frankie, what is going on here in New York City? What's your read on it?
Well, I feel like you almost answered it yourself there, Mike. But, why were all these billionaire donors helping him out, propping him up? Where did he come from? This man just fell through the weeds at the perfect time, propped up. I mean, it's a big club, Mike, and we're not in it, as we've heard many, many times. It's so clear. All these people, everyone knows each other. Everyone knows what's going on. But by the time it gets to us, at least it actually got to us with this Epstein dump, but it's just like, yeah, it's too late. He's the mayor. Here we go. It's incredible.
Exactly. He is the mayor, and all the people out there who voted for him got played. Okay, they were absolutely mentally ill sheep. And you know what's funny is that they're so dumb and they're so asleep that they still won't acknowledge it. No, Zoran's the best. Zoran's the best. What happened to tax the rich, fast free buses? No, New York City is about to head into an economic implosion. And I think it's because, you know, maybe some people want to buy up the rest of New York City real estate. Maybe they want to make it so unsustainable that more people leave, that more people come in on Section 8. So like the buildings that are, you know, sold on the cheap because these tax increases can fall in the hands of international power who can buy it up, snatch it up, okay, own it. And now New York City continues to be hollowed out from within. No more New Yorkers left in the city. Again, Zoran was elected by a majority of people who have come to New York in the last 10 years who have no connection to the history of the city. And I think now they're trying to not only take the population, but they're trying to take like the infrastructure and the buildings and the systems, and they're trying to turn that over to the hands of foreign influence as well. I think that's what this is about. I think it's about hollowing out New York City and turning it into something that is in no way resembling America. I think that's what Zoran's role is. I've thought long and hard about that because I'm like, okay, Epstein guy, tied to billionaires. He's causing a race war intentionally, it seems like. It seems like the Jews and the Muslims, both want it because the Muslims are emboldened because the call to prayer is going on. But the Jews bankroll him. So it seems like they're literally just causing the conflict on purpose so people aren't paying attention as he raises the taxes, as he clears out, everything that he wants to clear out in terms of, normal systems and processes and things that keep New York, wants to socialize these things. I think that's the design. Race war by design So people outside of the country who don't give a damn about any of this stuff, that they can then snatch it up. I think he's playing a role. Listen to him talking about tax increases. Oh, what a shocker. Tax the rich or tax everybody? Roll it.
For those who have watched budget after budget, it is tempting to assume that we are engaging in the same dance as our predecessors. Let me assure you, nothing about this is typical. That's why our solutions won't be either. There are two paths to bridge this gap. The first is the most sustainable and the fairest path. This is the path of ending the drain on our city and raising taxes on the richest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations. The onus for resolving this crisis should not be placed on the backs of working and middle-class New Yorkers. If we do not fix this structural imbalance and do not heed the calls of New Yorkers to raise taxes on the wealthy, this crisis will not disappear. It will simply return, year after year, forcing harder and harsher choices each time. And if we do not go down the first path, the city will be forced down a second, more harmful path. Faced with no other choice, the city would have to exercise the only revenue lever fully within our own control. We would have to raise property taxes.
Oh, got it. You hear that? This stupid fucking 30-year-old that you guys elected. Are you kidding me? Like, how stupid. Like, listen to that joke. And when you listen through it through the lens of knowing what he is he's a puppet of a higher power. You just listen to him. He's stupid. These people aren't smart. He is a puppet actor reading from a script. It enrages me that anybody would go for that. But they do, because they're on TikTok, because they're given antidepressant meds, because they have no hopes, because they're eating poisonous food, because of postmodern feminism, which is like rotting women's brains. Like, that's how we have Zoran. So, well, isn't it funny how like the Chippewa society has led to this? Like this absolute con that most people can't see through. He's like, well, there's a first path and there's a second path. Could you imagine being so dumb that you believe that Zoran is speaking genuinely about, like, this quandary of two paths? Clearly, it's pre-baked that the property taxes are going up. It's pre-baked. He's acting like he wants to tax the rich. And he's saying, oh, no, I didn't deviate from my campaign promises at all because I still want to tax the rich and it's going to be out of my control. We're going to have to raise property taxes. Why didn't he say in the campaign trail that if he couldn't do that, he would raise property taxes? He never said that. About 40% of New Yorkers would be affected by a property tax increase because they own property. About 40%. It's like 38% of New Yorkers own property. So they would all get their taxes risen. And then the renters, who are out there, who are probably another, call it 30%, 35%, they would then obviously get their rents increased because of an increase of property taxes in the building that the owners have to pay. And then everybody else who's unaffected, who sits there, that's who these people really want. That's the Section 8 welfare recipients. That's the EBT. Those are the people who are going to go along as they hollow out the city. They don't want people in the city. They want to own the assets. They want to wipe it clean, and they want to remake it and own it in their image. That's what this is about. Zoran is the actor. And I listen to him talk, and I look at him talk, and I'm like, could you imagine being a woman who was like, oh, he's so hot. He's going to be so great. Hot. Oh, my goodness. We're going to like this is amazing. Socialism. And, he's just the best.
Those women
like,
exist,
can you imagine,
Mike?
like, the modern... it does exist. Women are cooked largely in this generation. I was on an airplane. Quick segue. I was on an airplane yesterday, coming back from the West Coast on a business meeting, and I'm listening to the woman in front of me talk to the person to her right, and they're speaking, and she goes, "Yo, that Trump is so bad because my 14-year-old came to me and said, 'Mommy, I don't feel safe.' Because she was on TikTok seeing content, and it's just so sad that we have a president who makes my daughter not feel safe." So the deductive reasoning of a 14-year-old who's scrolling, manipulating content, intentionally misleading and manipulating content on TikTok, the fact that your daughter has come to this conclusion at the age of 14 makes you, like a 40-year-old mother, feel like Trump is then unfit, and that's your barometer for what's good and what's bad. So by that standard, Zoran's great, because he's great. He's a socialist, hot mayor. So yes, Frankie, these people unfortunately exist. I almost said something, but I didn't say anything. I just kind of just stayed in my seat and just said, I'm not going to do this. So anyway, Zoran's talking about this dire crisis. And again, I said this is all pre-baked. This is all pre-planned. Eric Adams was part of it. You say, oh, Eric Adams looks like he would have been a much better. Eric Adams let in all the illegals. Eric Adams put $10 billion of the city budget on illegal aliens. You know, we could have built for $10 billion. New York City could have gave them money for $7 billion to the federal government to build the border wall that people like Hillary Clinton and all the leftists said that we didn't have $7 billion at our disposal to pay for a border wall to stop illegal aliens. That's not feasible. New York City alone has already spent $10 billion. And Zoran goes on and says, oh, the New York City budget is now at a shortfall of $10 billion. And he's proposing all these like drastic measures and maneuvers and path A and path B. And it's like, Zoran, what about path C? Deport every single illegal alien and save $10 billion because you're giving them housing and food assistance. Not in the cards. Here's Zoran talking about it. Roll it.
What we'd rather do is ensure that they remain as they are so that the city can be on firm financial footing. However, in order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the retiree health benefits trust reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
Okay, there you go. So it's not only the property taxes. If you are a worker in the city, a city worker, a firefighter, a cop, people who run the administrative functions of the city, and you did your public sector job because you have the promise of a pension, that's now gone to pay for the illegal aliens. That's what Zoran's saying. So when you look at me and you say, oh, no, globalist interests outside the country are funding a race war to distract you while they destroy the financial underpinnings and monopolize the city and take it control for themselves and make it unrecognizable, when I say that, I'm the conspiracy theorist. That's not Democrat policy, what you're hearing out of Zoran. We're going to raid the pension fund. You know, it's funny. Usually people do that like on the hush-hush. It used to be a shameful thing to do. Oh, we're a little short on money. Let's take a little money from the pension fund. And like that causes a lot of problems in like local governments and state governments. Zoran's like, we're going to take the money out of the pension fund. It's over. Really bad. And then for actual expenses that we need right now, like, more police officers because, of the fact that crime is out of control and everyone's like, oh, crime is down. Crime is quote unquote down. It's because things aren't reported anymore. They don't report things. They just don't report it. Like things that used to get you arrested, you can now do in the open in New York City. You could defecate and shit on the street now. Could you do that 10 years ago in New York? No, they probably, some New York police officers who had some pride in the city, they probably would have beaten you up and everyone would have supported it. But now, because we're a third world country, shitting on the streets is normal. That's a normal practice in third world Muslim countries. So they now shit on the street. It's okay, can't do anything. Robberies, assaults, burglaries, no police response. So therefore, there's no crime. The crime's down. Zoran is going to cut Eric Adams' plan to hire 5,000 new police officers. It's done. So now the city's not going to get the police officers. The pension fund's going to get raided. The rainy day fund, meaning for emergencies, like money that you have in reserves, that's going to get raided. And the property tax is going to go up. Really, it's going to affect costs for about 65% of New Yorkers. Oh, but he was the smart, socialist, cunning, revolutionary, hot mayor, right? How stupid are the citizens of New York City who allowed this to happen? I mean, it just goes to show you that their propaganda and everything they tried to do over the last couple decades, that it worked. What a shame. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dried premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257. That's 800-319-0257, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath & Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here, coming live from New York Saturday night. How much longer are we going to be coming to you guys from New York? I mean, at this point, with our last segment about Zoran, I mean, who knows? I mean, who knows at this point what it's going to be? I'm telling Frankie all fair. I go, Frankie, even if we live in the suburbs, Frankie lives on Long Island, I live in New Jersey. Even if we live outside the city, like that's going to affect us because the prices are naturally going to go up because anybody who can get out is going to get out, and they're going to then drive up the demand in this rural and suburban areas, which then deplete the supply, which then makes owning a home out of reach for like people who have lived in like these areas outside the city for a long time. So this has massive ramifications, and that's all baked in to, again, the globalists, billionaires, the people who stoke all this, okay, the people who control Zoran, the people who prop up this obvious puppet that is Zoran. Like that is the intention here. And actually that was part of COVID because, again, home prices still have not gone back down to what they were pre-COVID. Remember when it all was going out of control in like Florida and these other states? I digress. I want to move on to another globalist, totally not conspiracy at all, totally, just some isolated perverts who like to have sex with marginally aged and underage women. Yeah, just totally like, that. If you listen to Ben Shapiro. The Epstein saga. It's funny, Frankie. I'll just go on a little thing for a minute here. I listen to Ben Shapiro, and it's like I was saying like that he's not good, and some people say he's good, and they get mad at me. I listen to Ben Shapiro say that the Epstein thing is just the fact that he was perverted and that he liked to have sex with underage women, and that's disgusting, but he's dead now, so that's it. Case closed. It's like, do you see the way that people like Ben Shapiro feed the stereotypes that he's an agent of a foreign country broadcasting when he says stuff like that, and you listen to what you're about to listen to right now? Lex Wexner, okay, this guy, who is a billionaire, state of Ohio, he was finally brought before the House in a committee hearing and forced to answer some questions. I've never heard Lex Wexner, but I've heard his name for a long time because he's the guy who gave Jeffrey Epstein 95% of his money. Jeffrey Epstein didn't make money by doing like these investments and, trading and finance, like they say. This guy Wexner pretty much just gave him all the money to empower him to do everything that he did.
And power of attorney and everything.
So, power of attorney, sold him the house for $10 in New York. Was at the island all the time. So this guy created Epstein. So they bring him in front of the committee. And again, I would say that if you're the creator of Epstein, you created this monster who at the very least was a child rapist. That's demonstrably horrible. And at the very most was running an international blackmail ring, at the behest of several foreign intelligence agencies. That either way, the person who enabled that person should probably be treated pretty harshly. But I'm seeing Lex Wexner just sit there, and I'm just like, no arrest? No beating him around a little bit? I would say that, like in a normal country, you would put that guy down on a table by his throat, and you would say, sing, and tell us what you know. You just enabled one of the world's biggest pedophiles and traffickers, because again, Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail for trafficking, but trafficking to whom? They won't tell us. But this guy enabled it all. So if I was the leader of a serious country, I don't care who he is, I would have him ready to sing or ready to die. And I think anybody with a conscience would agree with that. I don't think that they would agree with people like Ben Shapiro who say, oh, no, this thing is over, case closed. Who cares about Lex Wexner? That's, as the kids say, that's giving foreign influence agent. Let's listen to Wexner. Roll it.
Epstein stole or otherwise misappropriated several $100 million from Wexner. That misconduct, together with the fees that Epstein paid himself for his services to Wexner, appears to account for virtually all of Epstein's wealth. So several $100 million is a large but not precise figure. To the best of your knowledge, how much exactly did Epstein steal?
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know.
I'd like to try to understand a little bit better how Epstein was able to steal or misappropriate that many funds. One way, reportedly, is that the trusts that we described earlier, which I know you said you have no recollection of, I just want to be thorough. The trusts that he was trustee of would receive gifts of limited stock, and he would then sell that stock on the New York Stock Exchange and then use a portion of those proceeds for his own personal purposes. Do you have any knowledge or recollection of what I just described?
I'm effing surprised. I'm shocked. I didn't know this.
Is it that you have not previously heard what I just described?
I never heard of it, never saw this document.
And it was publicly reported, I think, by ABC several years ago, but not ever on your radar?
Never.
Okay. The report indicates that it was more than or around $1.3 billion of stock that Epstein moved around that way. Not that he kept all of that money for himself, but the total amount of stock sales was over $1 billion. You have no knowledge or awareness of that?
I don't know the amounts. The only trust that I'm aware of is my wife set up trusts for our kids, so however she set them up in the amounts, I have no idea what's in them then or now.
And then separately, it's been reported that around $20 million of stock and cash were contributed by two of your charitable foundations to one of Epstein's charities. Do you have any knowledge or awareness of that?
Effing shocked. I'm appalled. I never.
How can you? He's appalled. How can you watch that and not be radicalized? I mean, that is the biggest organized crime boss you've ever seen right there. They like to talk about us Italians, like, oh, this Italian, Lufthansa highest $5 million, and the Italians are this. Then it's like, this is $1.3 billion, and you're meaning to tell me that a guy who's worth, I don't know how much Wexner's worth, $5 billion, whatever, that 1/5 of his assets, that $1 billion just kind of skirted by and he didn't know anything about it. In a normal civilized society, this guy would be held at his throat and tortured until we actually got the true story, because he's like, oh, I'm shocked, I'm appalled. That is a thug mob organized crime boss in reality. Yes, Frankie.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, it's just incredible that, he's obviously older and he's trying to act shocked and he's the worst actor in the world. It's like, guys, look at his house, his estate in Ohio. This man is worth so much money. He basically owns every single store in the mall. Back in the day, you'd go to the mall for Christmas shopping. You're basically paying him and Epstein every time you went to any store. Bath and Body Works, so Victoria's Secret, any store, it was theirs. It was right to his pocket, which was also Epstein's pocket. And this guy's like, no idea. It's like, you built an empire like that and you have no idea that someo's stealing $1 billion, over $1 billion from you? Yeah, okay.
If you got maybe, let's say you're worth $1 billion, $5 billion, you get $1 million stole stolen through a skimming, or you get $2 million. Maybe that's a little believable. But I still think, again, I know very rich people, and those people would know if $1 million was missing. I know people with $500 million that if $500,000 was missing, they would know and be furious about it. That's what got them to that point. That's what got them so rich and successful, is because they know how to track 50 things at once. That's like the basis of their intelligence. That's how they made the money. But you're meaning to tell me that Wexner has no clue? That Wexner is totally confused? And then, Frankie, with the Rothschilds, they're like, yeah, how did you get mixed up with Epstein? Why'd you hire him? And Wexner's like, oh, he was like the banker of the Rothschilds. And they're like, well, what did he do with them? He's like, I don't know. So why did you hire him? I don't know. You didn't do any due diligence on it? Well, he was with the Rothschilds. I don't know. Like, so you're meaning to tell me that $1 billion guy who signs over power of attorney has no clue what the resume qualifications were for the guy that he gave the entire keys to the fortune and $1 billion to? Is that up to anybody? Yes, Frankie.
He gave him the Lolita Express, like the whole famous Epstein's plane. Like, that's Les Wexner's plane, his Victoria's Secret plane. He gave it to him. Just, here you go, pal. Take it. Unbelievable. And we'll go a second over. It's okay. Roll this clip of the lawyer, because this sums it all up so beautifully. The way that these people talk. Roll it.
It was just regularly done.
Answer another question. 5 words, okay?
You hear there the lawyer saying he will effing kill Wexner if he answers a question of more than 5 words. They're mocking you. They're making a mockery out of our system. These are the biggest criminals in American history in plain sight. It should be a bipartisan structure to bring these people down. And you guys are like, oh, Republican, Democrat, this, that. It's like, this is the biggest crime syndicate in history. And people are too asleep to do anything about it. Nobody's protesting it. What the hell is going on? All right, quick break. We're back to wrap the show. Don't go anywhere.
Half protection is not enough. Using just an antivirus online is also not enough. Get better online protection with NordVPN. It will encrypt your online traffic, protect you from malware, phishing, and stop annoying ads. Get NordVPN now.
Imagine this banana is a burner less lethal launcher, capable of shooting rock-hard kinetic and tear gas mixed with pepper chemical irritants.
The ammo can incapacitate an attacker from 60 feet away without causing death.
This Byrna less lethal launcher is legal in all 50 states. No permits required.
Over 600,000 Byrna pistol launchers have been sold to government agencies, law enforcement agencies, and to private citizens.
Do you want to know what the Byrna less lethal launcher looks like? Visit Byrna.com.
President Trump ended the nightmare for almost all January 6 defendants when he delivered on his promise to pardon those who suffered through our two-tiered system of justice. But there are still 12 January 6 defendants whose fights are far from over. These J6ers still face overwhelming legal battles. Scan the QR code now or visit j6support.com to help stand in the gap, push for pardons for these patriots. Many have lost their jobs, homes, and life savings due to prolonged incarceration, and even though they've had their sentences commuted, they still cannot vote, possess firearms, receive any military pensions and retirement benefits, obtain health care coverage for themselves and their families, or secure employment. Stand in the Gap is renewing our Justice Restoration Fund to advocate for full pardons for these patriots. Please visit j6support.com or scan the QR code to support our fight for justice for these January 6 defendants. Your gift today helps us partner with reputable attorneys and legal advisors to ensure they have a fair chance at winning their cases and having their rights restored. Please donate today to let these J6ers know that they are not forgotten. Scan the QR code or visit j6support.com to make a tax-deductible donation to our Justice Restoration Fund.
And welcome back to the show, everybody. Mike Crispi here. Thanks for sticking with us. Saturday Night Real America's Voice. Last segment, obviously, talking about the Epstein saga that continues to unfold. But do you guys remember a time when the leaders of the FBI were saying that there was no trafficking going on, that Epstein definitely killed himself? It was an open and shut case. He was just a pervert. There was nothing there. Do you remember that? Clearly, objectively, that is a lie. And here's what I've noticed from some, and I'm talking about Dan Bongino here, who, again, I've always liked him. I got nothing against Dan Bongino. I don't make money to speak for or against Dan Bongino. I didn't really make much money doing this. But Dan Bongino is back in the private sector in his podcast, And he seems to have a very specific and particular posture. And the posture is, if you criticize my handling of what I did at the FBI, you are a fake MAGA grifter. Well, here's the thing. I have not made a dime of profit from doing any of this stuff, from helping President Trump over the last 10 years. I've been on the train since day one. I've never strayed from MAGA, not once. I've been loyal to the president. Not many people could say that. And I don't think that criticizing Dan Bongino and what he did means that anybody is a MAGA grifter. I think it's abundantly clear. We talk about eradicating the deep state. It's very clear that Epstein was not just some random perverted person, that he was part of a bigger deep state. The documents prove it. So Bongino's been back on the air, and his viewership is down. And again, this isn't an attack on him. I'm just saying statistics. His viewership is down, and his reaction to it is to get angrier and more hostile and point the fingers at people. I guess that would include me, who are saying, I don't know, Dan, you know, all this stuff is out there about Epstein, and you were saying he killed himself, and you were saying there was nothing there, and you were there for a year. Why didn't you arrest anybody? Why didn't we do anything? Why didn't we take down the deep state? Now, if the reality was that people had a proverbial or literal gun to his head and said, hey, now you're here, you're part of this, you can't do anything, otherwise something very bad will happen to you, well, that's okay. Ride off into the sunset. Swallow your pride. Don't piss on our head and tell us it's raining, okay? Just go retire. You have enough money. Don't come back to the air and start yelling at us and calling us names because we're asking legitimate questions. Like, if you can't talk about certain things because your life would be in danger once you got into it and realized it was way over your head, then just retire into the sunset and nobody will get mad at you. We understand you don't want to die. Let's roll this clip in this exchange of his interview with Cash Patel. Roll it.
Everything's a level 10 decision, Cash. Yeah. A level 10 meaning there's a pardon the language, but a shitty decision and a shittier one. Because if there was a good decision to be made, someone else made it. And then when those decisions, that's every day. I know you know this because I would knock on your door and you'd be like, what now? And I'd be like, here we go again. Like something else will come up. But I just want to put into perspective for folks out there, when that decision can't even be made by me, it goes to you. When it doesn't go to you, it goes like to the president's desk. He's dealing with like level 11 decisions. And that's the thing in D.C. is that's why the batting average isn't always going to be 1,000. There's no good call to be made or someone else would have made it. There's just really tough decisions where, you know, there's a shit call and a shittier call. And listen, that's what we signed up for. That's how it rolls.
Look, yeah, these are difficult decisions, Dan. That's why you volunteered to jump back in. It wasn't just going to be, hey, we're going to do this job. It's going to be super easy. We're not going to have to make any hard decisions, and we're not going to have to combat a press corps that has largely been biased and full of inaccurate reporting. But we made those decisions collectively in the best interest of the nation. And if we hadn't, then none of this would be true. None of this would be possible. If President Trump had made the hard decisions to allow us and give us the resources that we need and to back the blue and law enforcement and to prioritize working with state and local authorities.
Yeah, okay, all right. So all I heard there was hard decisions, hard decisions, hard decisions, hard decisions. And then they like do this thing where like they shoehorn it and like thank President Trump and to give themselves like a blanket, like, you know, well, if you criticize us, well, then you're going against us thanking President Trump. No. I'm more on the Trump train than anybody ever has been since the start because I'm at the highest level because I've never deviated from MAGA, never will. I'm with Trump. But I think that these guys sound like clowns. They sound like idiots. I'm not a grifter for saying it. Hard decision, level 10 decision. Buddy, the decision was simple. President Trump had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. He blew the whistle on Jeffrey Epstein. Give us an arrest. 1, 2, 3, Lex Wexner, somebody. Do something about it. Show people that the deep state is not running the show anymore. Do something about it. Or don't do it. And no one will get mad at you, Dan Bongino. Don't go back on the air and start yelling. Just go right off into the pasture. Cash Patel, don't take the job and get angry and go on Joe Rogan and say, I'm not showing you that shit. That's all child porn. I'm not showing. Remember that when he did that? It's just so stupid, and the handling of it is so bad that it undermines all of the amazing things that Trump has done and continues to do. Last word, Frankie.
Yeah, I mean, for one thing, just Dan, why are you talking to us like we're children? You know, it's like when he looks at you, there's a level 10 decision, we have to do that, and then the president deals with the 11 decision, and it just gets harder and harder, and it's just like, give me a freaking break. That's what I have to say. Give me a break.
It's just pure slop. And as a MAGA original, I think I can say that. And you know what? You can't call me a grifter for doing it. Nothing against these people, nothing for these people. Just the truth and just for MAGA. All right, guys, that's all the time that we have. Love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you back live next week.